Okay, so now we come to Dietland, which is our optional book. If you are not going to read it, have a great Thanksgiving week, or you can get started on the paper early, or you can get started on Anne of Green Gables. If you are going to read it, I really enjoy this book in a kind of a weird way. I don't love it the way I love Anne of Green Gables or Jane Eyre, but I do think that it is a book with really fascinating themes, and I think that it deserves to be studied and talked about. If you remember from the first week of class, you read over the document I sent about the 4 waves of feminism. And this book is in that 4th wave. So it's not just looking at female empowerment from a perspective of, do we have equal pay? Do we have equal rights? Do we have voting rights? What it's looking at are things that are deeper in the culture. So how are women viewed in the media? How are women's bodies judged? How are women turned into sexual objects? What implication does that have for both women and men, but particularly women? We also have our lead character, our protagonist, Plum, who is living alone and very isolated. And then she comes into this community of other women. So you have this idea that it's not just a woman on her own becoming empowered, kind of as we saw with Educated is a great example, right? She goes to school and she does have mentors and help along the way, but for the most part, she's kind of teaching herself for a large portion of that, right? This is really about a community of women coming together to help each other, to support each other, and they're doing various projects. One of the things about this book that I think gets more attention is the secondary storyline, which is kind of in the background. And in the TV show, it became much more prominent. There was a TV show made of this. I talk about that in my lecture. Oh, and my lecture got hit for copyright violation, so I had to cut some of that discussion out. But there is a storyline of a group of militant feminists doing almost terroristic acts against people who have hurt women. Sorry about that. So in the TV show, they kind of played up this angle, and it got a lot of play in the press when the book came out, just the book itself. It's a little bit, this is in my read-alikes, but it's a little bit like the movie Fight Club, except that I think it's a little bit more terrifying to some people because it does have to do with women who, stereotypically there are still gender stereotypes out there, and having militant women committing acts of violence goes against those. But that's really there to show the larger ideas of how these things impact society as a whole. The real story is with Plum and her journey from doubt to self-acceptance. So if you're interested in things like body weight and eating disorders and self-esteem and women in the media and women working together, then you will enjoy this book. And I do hope, even if you're not able to read it now, maybe you can read it over the Christmas break, because it's great. It's really fascinating. And if you do read it over Christmas break, email me and tell me what you thought. I've been dying to talk about this book with somebody, and most people I know have just seen the TV show. So I really want to hear your thoughts. And that's it. I'll see you next week. Thanks.